You bet.
Following the devastating floods this past summer at Camp Mystic that claimed the lives of 27 young girls, the Texas Legislature passed new laws to enhance camper safety.
Some of the most notable changes include improving notification systems, emergency plans, and fiber and secondary internet to campgrounds, as well as prohibiting camps in designated flood plains.
Now, with all of this, some camps have a lot of work to do and are facing big price tags. Maya Clark has details on how 4 local camps are working to be in compliance with those laws before the summer camp season. That story from your local election headquarters.
At Cedar Canyon, one of the first aspects of emergency planning was notifications coming in from the National Weather Service. They realized they didn't have a weather station that predicted and provided quality data about what was happening in the canyon.
One of the very first things that we did was that we invested $25,000 into a weather station that is being installed at the top of the canyon, and we also have a strike net that we partnered with Pantex, and they so graciously partnered with us and they installed the strike net, as a matter of just last week. And anybody can get on StrikeNet and they can see exactly what's happening.
Cedar Canyon staff is also working to install updated public address and warning systems, ensuring that weather radios are accessible and parents are given timely updates.
I can send mass texts out by utilizing our technology. So we're really kind of leaning on our technology to give us the ability to communicate to the masses very effective and efficiently.
Another requirement for all camps is having broadband internet, installing end-to-end fiber optic broadband and a secondary redundant broadband service. For many camps across the state, fiber will decide if they open.
We have end-to-end fiber, so that's one broadband internet. And then our second one, yes, then we're going to be getting a satellite secondary internet service that will service Cedar Canyon.
Alarcon estimates the camp safety initiatives at Cedar Canyon will cost about $385,000, with all the infrastructure changes needed by April 1st to qualify and maintain their license. Just 13 miles away from Cedar Canyon is Hidden Falls Ranch. Already in place is fiber and an emergency plan that meets state requirements. Their big cost coming from infrastructure improvements and the camp license fee.
Going to be the outdoor lighting, PA system, and the kind of surprise line item for us is the camp license fee. For the past 14 years since I've been here, at least, our license renewal fee has been $450 annually. And in September, it looked like it was going to be close to $10,000 annually. And then about a month or two ago, when we got a revision of the rules, it jumped down to about $5,000.
While flooding isn't a concern for Hidden Falls, tornadoes and wildfires are. It's why they already have a shelter in place.
So when kids are in there, even for an emergency, it doesn't feel like it's an emergency. But we have those facilities in place, and we have a long list of emergency procedures that we already are training our staff on.
Over in West Amarillo is Camp Kiwanis, home of the Girl Scouts of Texas-Oklahoma Plains. There, the infrastructure improvements needed came after the Girl Scouts set their budget for the year. The budgetary constraints meant they would focus on improvements at Stevens Ranch outside of Glen Rose and only operate one camp.
Including the installation of a camp-wide PA system, nighttime illumination on proposed evacuation routes, etc. And then the implementation of a more thorough-going emergency action plan for the campers.
Following the new legislation, Camp Kiwanis also closed 2 of their units because both were in designated 100-year floodplains, and cabins are no longer authorized to be in floodplains. Although the legislation has changed the landscape of camp, Holt says the Girl Scouts have always taken safety serious, with standards coming from additional governing bodies.
We have measures in place, be it for wildfire, be it tornado, flooding, severe weather, any type of situation like that, as well as things that deal with, a lost or missing camper, camp-wide sickness, that type of thing. We have all that stuff written down.
Located in Canyon is the High Plains Retreat Center, which leases out their property to groups looking to partake in camp. With HPRC being a vessel for camp, A key part of their safety plan is communicating effectively with the groups coming in.
We're trying to figure out a great game plan for that, to kind of make sure they have a roster and an assigned person, because that's best practice, is to have rosters so you can check off. And that's not something that a lot of camps or a lot of churches would be used to doing.
On the campgrounds themselves, HPRC already had fiber and much of the necessary infrastructure to be in compliance. Now, they're working to iron out the last few details to enhance safety.
One of our things that we're working on right now is a public address system, so that we can let the whole camp know quickly if there is an emergency of any kind.
And although the changes being implemented comes at a financial cost, it's no greater cost than the 27 lives lost from flooding at Camp Mystic.
I just want to send a message out to Heavens 27 that I see you, I hear you, and we're going to do everything we can to honor what has happened.
At Cedar Canyon, Maya Clark, Camera Local 4 News.
We also reached out to our local Boy Scout troop for an interview, and they sent us an email stating in part, I'm quoting here, most of the requirements are ones we already comply with under Scouting America's National Camp Accreditation Program, that's NCAP, and that following the adoption of rules on January 30th, they would evaluate any necessary safety enhancements needed to be in compliance with that bill.
We also reached out to the authors of the bills, Senator Perry and Representative Darby. They did not respond to our request for an interview. However, in a previous story with our sister station in Austin, Darby's office forwarded a letter addressing fiber, a timeline for implementation, and who would oversee implementation of the requirement. To see full interviews with their local camps and see how they are working to be in compliance, head over to our website, myhighplains.com.